This is Hyung again with another review, this time of the ST4 G3 by Thunder Tiger. As you can see, it's written on the body right here. I've had this truck for, I have no idea actually, but I think longer than a year. And a lot has happened to it since, so I kind of try to bring it back to stock form. The body doesn't exactly fit anymore with the chassis brace, which we'll talk about later. But this is basically what you get when you get the truck. Mine is a little bit wider also, which I'll also talk about later. But this is the body you get. It has the wing, obviously. It has the wheels, these kind of wheels. All right, so let me start by the. Let's just take the body off, really, and go over this truck, what it looks like. What it comes with. First of all, it comes with this radio. That's very basic. It's a bit big. I didn't really use it because I damaged the receiver straight away, so I just linked it to my FS GT2B receiver and transmitter, which looks a little more compact. Right, so let's take the body off. So it comes with the typical Thunder Tiger over tray kind of chassis. Basically the flat pan chassis, but it has this funky over tray over it, which I like. A lot of people hate it. I suppose I don't care, because I like it. It keeps your battery in, kind of, it doesn't really keep dirt out, because it has all these huge holes in it. But it just makes everything nice and compact, and keeps it together. Chassis brace is kind of loose at the moment. Usually that's not the case, obviously. Let me just take this off for you. The wire outside. I made some holes in order to make the wiring and the batteries fit. Everything. Right, so flat pan chassis, you have your normal 8 scale layout with a front, center, and rear differential. Usually it comes with a red ripper motor. Mine destroyed itself by coming loose from the motor mount, and that actually broke my rotor. So I had to replace it. I replaced it with basically the same motor. This is the Leopard. I don't remember the number, but it's the inside is exactly the same as far as I understand. The can is a little bit different in that it has a little bit of a heat sink here. That's been doing great for me. I like the 2000 kV rating. It's not too high, not too low. This truck comes geared with a 13-tooth pinion, and that doesn't get you a lot of speed. I think I got mine. It was somewhere around the 25 to 27 miles per hour mark out of the box. I'll talk about what I did to that later in the video. It also comes with an 80 amp Hobbywing ESC, which I've upgraded to 150 amp ESC. The 80 amp works great for 4S. The only thing is that it has a little bit of delay in throttle response, which I don't like. I've also heard stories about it. It kind of limits the speed because it can't supply all the juice for your motor. So that sucks, right? So if you upgrade to 150 amp, even running 4S, it should be a little bit faster already. It comes with an Ace servo, which is rather slow, doesn't have a ton of torque. It works. But for me, it started glitching. It started steering full right without me actually, giving it that command, I suppose. And then it just broke completely. So I upgraded to a Hobby King servo. I don't know which one. It's a high torque servo. It's decently fast, and that does great. It comes with plastic shocks. I don't have them in front anymore. I still have them in the rear. These are bigger bore ones than the MT4 ones. They work great as far as I'm concerned. They have good dampening. the stock suspension setup is pretty good also. They've been known to pop the caps. A few people haven't had this problem, and I'm one of those lucky few. I never have problems. There is a fix for it. You can make rings out of, I think, a 3/4 inch conduit, if that's the way you pronounce that word, and put those around the caps. That will stop them from popping. Or, of course, you can upgrade to different shocks, like the ones off of the MT4, which I've done in the front. Let me see. Oh, usually it doesn't come with this bumper either. It comes with a small truggy bumper. It does its job. This will handle some frontal impacts better, though. It comes with aluminum shock towers. I have also upgraded those, so I can't show you those. Maybe later on in the video I'll get the ones that I took off of here. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Right, handling. It handles fantastically. It's really wide, really low, especially with these tires. It's low slung, and it just handles like a dream. I remember on Forest with the stock gearing, I was not able to flip it. I suppose they were a low traction surface I was doing it on, but literally full speed, full lock turn, and it wouldn't flip. So in that department, it's just great. And one of the things I remember I noticed when I got this, compared to my even my Mini Eurego and my MT4 Cruiser from Kyosho, that it runs so smooth. When you just drive it, the drive line is so smooth. Everything just sounds, and you can just tell it's a quality RC. With, you know, it's an older plastic model, so it has a lot of history. Hey. But you can tell it also has a lot of experience. It's a really smooth platform. Okay, I'm going to talk about durability out of the box, so not the way you see here. Hey! Doggy. Bad doggy. He wants to play a part of the show. See, this was our doggy that's visiting us. Right, so the plastics are really good. You may break an A-arm or two. I've never actually. One thing that I broke on this stock setup was I broke a shock shaft. That was from driving it full speed into a tree stump that I didn't see, so I didn't really blame it for that. The front plate here also bent in that crash. That's not really going to happen anymore with this bumper, but that's definitely vulnerable. The aluminum is not very strong. The shock tower stock ones, I mean, the aluminum on this thing just isn't the best quality. So if you're going to jump it stock, and you don't have a chassis brace like this installed, the chassis plate may bend, and the shock towers may bend. Now you can bend it back to an extent, but you know, it is pretty annoying. So, so there are some things you can do. I'll talk about it a little later. What else? Well, people have had problems with hinge pins. I haven't really, to be honest. Yeah, so the servo is a liability. Let me see, there's a few other... Right, one thing that's a bit vulnerable in this thing is the wing, because it's way offset to the rear. And actually I was jumping it the other day and I did break it. There you can see that's where it snapped. So I have these parts, I'm going to replace it, but I may use the wing off of the ED4 as it's not as offset as this one is. Let me see. I think I've pretty much covered durability. So it's, you know, it's a pretty durable truck. When you jump it very, you know, pretty far and high, you could run into some trouble, but there are fixes for that. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Fun. Well, it is fun to drive. I like it, especially because it handles so nicely, even on road. It's good. Where I drive, which is usually the forest, it wasn't as much fun as my other trucks, mainly because of the small wheels. You can't drive it over a lot of things. I mean, it did, you know, decently. Just because it's such a smooth ride, it was still a lot of fun. But definitely for forest kind of bashing and, you know, sand dune bashing, you definitely want some bigger tires, I think. For jumping, it's great. It jumps so nicely. It's very stable in the air, and that's great. Alright, let's move on to the next section of the video now. Oh, I actually forgot to mention, so the wheels and tires stock. A lot of people don't like them because they're pins, and if you run them on road, they're going to wear out really quickly. And you can see it on this rear one mainly. There's hardly any tread left. So that's true, because it's a nice soft compound, so they will wear. I think that Thunder Tiger didn't really mean them to be run on road, obviously. I think, you know, this is a truggy. It's not going to be the best racing truggy out there, but I do think that they meant it for a track. And on a track for RTR tires, I think they would do decently. I have actually never been to a track myself. But for track, they're probably alright for a beginner. Bashing, if you're not going on-road, they're also decent. Alright, so that was the ST4. Now the MT4. It's more like it, right? Yeah. It's kind of a basher's wet dream these days. Apparently. So it's not actually an MT4. It's still my ST4, obviously. You can see the wing and everything. But it has since been converted to pretty much MT4 spec. So let me go over the differences between the ST4 and the MT4. Well, obviously the body is different. This is not the MT4 body. This is the Proline Baja Bug. And since pretty much everyone uses this on their MT4, because of the stock body is pretty ugly, and because it breaks, this is kind of like the second official MT4 body to me. Anyway, let's take it off. So differences are, I already discussed a little bit. Shocks are different. Is there metal on the MT4? The front one's an MT4. These are the ST4 ones. The bumper is different. It's more of an monster truck bumper. The ESC is different, so you get the 150 amp ESC. It's not the one that I have in there. It's the Ezrun. No, it's the Xeron, not the Ezrun, and this is the Ezrun. Motor's same. Wheel hub extenders are different on the MT4. They're a little bit longer on the ST4, so you can run zero offset tires. I actually have the RC8 wheel hub extenders on mine. What else? The gearing is different. MT4 comes with a 12-tooth pinion, I'm fairly sure, and that covers it. Okay, now the differences that I have on my truck. So these aren't the MT4 tires. They are about the same size, same width, same height. They're a little bit heavier, and the tread pattern is a little bit more aggressive. But I do have the MT4 tires because they're on my MT8, right? So these are the MT4 tires. Let me turn them around. These are good wheels. They are very good tires. I think they're light, they get good traction, they're half offset, I also like that. So they give you a little bit more stability, and they look nice. I like the fake, what do you call it, bead lock rim here. I like that, that's excellent. So they're actually one of the better MT tires in my mind. The only thing is that sometimes the hexes tend to strip. They're a bit soft, or some of them are at least. I also stripped out too. That's a minor annoyance, I suppose. But back to the MT4, right? Alright, so MT4 also comes with a wheelie bar. I don't have that. I left the wing on. The wheelie bar is a little bit better, I think, because obviously it functions as a wheelie bar, and it's a little bit more durable. So what I upgraded, already told you about the motor, the ESC servo. I put the AZ Crawler, I think is his name. AZ Crawler's chassis brace on it. On this works great. You just secure with some zip ties. Works great. Looks great. I think it's a good product. Good price also. I also have the I don't know how to pronounce this because I've never actually heard anyone say it, but the DGDEM shock towers on there. They're upgraded. They're still 60-61 aluminum, but they're tempered differently. I think it's T6 tempering or something. I have jumped them. I have crashed it. Haven't had any problems with those bending at all. But I also have the Asia T's steering assembly, aluminum. Gets rid of a little bit of slop that's in the stock one, but you really don't need it. I thought the stock one was quite fine in my mind. So that's Hey! Hey! So let's talk about speed a little bit, right? So that's one of the things I upgraded to a Robinson Racing 14-tooth pinion. So that gets you more speed. And these bigger tires get you more speed in comparison to the ST4. And I did a GPS reading on it the other day, and I got 40 miles per hour exact. And that's on 4S. Right? I've also run this on 5S. I have a clip of that, which I may integrate into this movie, or I'll make a separate running video. And I haven't done a GPS reading on that, but it should be around 46 miles per hour, I think, which is pretty scary, actually, when you see it in real life. To me, it is anyway. The wheelies that it pulls are nuts, also. I don't run it on 6S. I mean, I could, but I want to avoid breakages, so I don't have 2 3S batteries to avoid the temptation. So it has plenty of speed. If you run it on 6S, it has way too much speed. Speed's not really an issue with this thing. Durability. Okay, so I already covered that on the ST4. For the MT4, yeah, I think I've pretty much covered it. The chassis may bend. The way I have it now, it's pretty solid. One problem that I had is the zip ties blew off of my chassis brace, and like I said, the wing broke off. Other than that, it should be fairly solid. The drivetrain is amazing as far as I'm concerned. I've never had problems with that, except for some little bit of a rattle sound coming from my center diff, but even with the rattle, it functions fine. It's very low maintenance. I've never even had to shim it. It's just, you just drive it and it works. As far as fun, well, with the big wheels, I love it. It wheels like nuts. You can drive it over anything. You can do a little bit of forced crawling with it. Jumps great. You have great in-air pitch control with it. These cushion your landings really nicely. Also has a little bit of durability. Same for the MT4 tires. So yeah, I don't know. It's just one of my most fun trucks. I just love to drive it because I also love the look, especially with the bug body. That's important to me. I like a truck that looks good, drives good, and it's just so versatile. You can do so many things with it. You can jump it, make speed runs with it. You can bash it in the forest. You take it to the BMX track, skate park, even the track if you want to. I mean, it is a truggy after all. The ground clearance, I mean, people say it doesn't have that much ground clearance, but with the huge tires, it has more than enough ground clearance. It goes over pretty much everything. So would I buy it again? Definitely. Only thing different, maybe I would buy the MT4 straight away because I wouldn't have to do all the separate upgrades and it would be a little bit cheaper. I think all I would have to do is basically add the wing. But just for all those reasons I said, and it's not an expensive truck. If if you get the ST4 and the MT4, it's a good price. Here in the Netherlands, it's actually cheaper than the MTA, a lot cheaper than the Revo and the Savage. Also cheaper than the Rival. So it's probably the cheapest 1/8 scale monster truck that I can think of. It. Maybe you could get a Robotronics Hurricane, I think it is. Yeah, for a little bit cheaper, but your electronics wouldn't be as good. Because you have one with lesser electronics here. That's a different story. So all in all, amazing truck. So let me show you one more look for this. Alright, so this is another look that I have. It's the Revo body, Pro Graphics. I spray painted it fluorescent yellow to fit the colors of the wing and everything. With the Proline Trencher X's. It's one of my favorite looks actually. Because it looks cool. And yeah, it works alright, except for the trench kind of bind on the body sometimes. And the trenches are a little bit heavy, so especially when you run in high traction, on high traction surfaces, your electronics are going to get pretty